Yo, Katie, don't play the music, Katie, it'll hear us. Katie! Did you guys know there's a new Star Wars coming out soon? And there's one coming out now? Is that Werner Herzog? Is that Werner Herzog in a Star Wars show? Okay. There's one coming out in December. Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Wait, let me check here. I don't know how they found another one, but okay. Oh, and there's a new Star Wars game too. Star Wars theme parks, Star Wars and Levi's hoodies, Star Wars pillows, Star Wars toilet paper. Spaceballs did this joke 30 years ago.
Are dead. This
I'm not the biggest Star Wars dork. I enjoy some Star Wars movies like Empire and maybe like 3/4 of Jedi. I feel kind of bad for J.J. Abrams, a multi-millionaire big Hollywood success. He had to follow The Last Jedi. Remember that? I'm gonna tell you a secret. I don't hate The Last Jedi because it's this big important tentpole movie that doesn't understand how storytelling works, and that's gonna be funny forever. I've seen every franchise I've ever loved get ruined, except Doom. Give him time. I may not have been a Star Wars nerd, but I was an FPS nerd with a PC, so you bet your ass I had dark forces. The first Star Wars FPS to my knowledge, I'm not counting X-Wing or TIE Fighter or whatever the fuck this is. Star Wars games, of course, were made by LucasArts, who had a little more experience at the time with adventure games. Monkey Island, Sam and Max Hit the Road, but as adventure games were a dying medium, a little bit, just a bit, Doom came out at the end of '93, and some genius said, let's make Doom but Star Wars. Don't take that as a knock against Dark Forces. If you want to classify it as a Doom clone, it's one of the best. In 1995, it was the best. Dark Forces was followed by Jedi Knight, Dark Forces 2, and then LucasArts stopped making those games, but it's okay, they gave it to Raven. Hallowed be its name. But you ain't a Jedi yet. No fancy Force powers for you. No, in this game, you'll be doing one thing, and one thing only. Killing space Nazis. Dark Forces introduced a character to the extended universe that you may have heard of. Kyle motherfucking Katarn. Kyle's a stupid name. For those of you out there named Kyle, I'm sorry your parents didn't love you. Kyle Katarn, or as he's known in this Star Wars wiki that I cherry-picked, God, has a certain level of mimetic infamy. The Chuck Norris of the Star Wars universe. He doesn't grow a beard until the next game, though. I'm not saying his reputation is undeserved. The first mission of Dark Forces is about Kyle Katarn infiltrating a secret base and stealing Death Star plans. You remember how they had to, assemble a team in Rogue One? Actually, more importantly, do you guys remember Rogue One? It's okay if you don't. And they couldn't have made a movie about Kyle Katarn stealing the Death Star plans because it would have been over in 15 minutes. The first mission, as it should, introduces you to a few things. One, the intro crawl, along with the modified Star Wars music, which in this game ranges from not bad to fucking awesome. I'm not going to make you read this whole crawl. The gist of it is that Kyle Katarn is an ex-Imperial officer and now a mercenary employed by the Rebellion. Armed with only a blaster pistol, he has to infiltrate the secret Imperial base, or rather, we have to, and let's time how long we have that blaster pistol.
There he is, stop it!
Yup. And I won't be able to say enough good things about this game. The heads-up display, for example, look how much less intrusive it is than any other FPS game at the time. It doesn't take up a fifth of the screen, and it tells you everything you need to know. You have inventory items and such that can be activated with the function keys, and a map. All that stuff is there. You got your battery power for those things over here above your ammo. On the other side, you got shields, health, and lives. Yes, lives. No saves in this game. You gotta make it through the mission in 3 lives, or however many you pick up during the level. When you die, you're not even sent back to the start, you basically lose no progress. And remember, you don't even use the Force in this game. You're just Jesus. He could be. They only killed Jesus once. He could have taken it 3 times. Shields absorb all damage for a while before you start losing health, unless it's a melee attack, which will go right through. I'm playing this game on hard because I've never done that before, and I feel like it's too easy. Having run it in DOSBox kind of sucks. There's no complete source port of it, unfortunately. DOSBox plays it fine. No vertical mouse aiming kind of sucks. You have to aim up and down with the keyboard. Auto-aiming kind of helps with that, but not completely. Some of your weapons have secondary fire modes. Most don't. Still a novelty in 1995. What I'm finally about to show you is what I consider the money shot at Dark Forces. That one thing that the game needed to get right, which is shooting Imperial douchebags with lasers. The death animations where there's a little light where they get hit as blast burns through them, it's beautiful. See, even on hard mode in Dark Forces, the game isn't usually that challenging. Usually. Remember that part in A New Hope where Han Solo runs into a room full of stormtroopers? And then he turns around and runs away? That ain't Kyle. You'll see as many stormtroopers in the first levels of this game, and you will single-handedly murder every single one of them. The game, even in 2.5D, bleeds Star Wars atmosphere. Down to the sound effects, the chatter from the guards, it's spot on.
Surrender immediately.
Now understand, the whole stealing the Death Star planes is the prologue to this game. Like the beginning of a Bond movie where he infiltrates someplace to show what a badass he is. Tying it to the Death Star is a nice touch. Once you've completed your mission objectives, you hit escape and move on. Yeah, mission objectives. I guess you aren't just killing space Nazis. That's really only 99% of it. 1% is collecting items or placing charges or solving puzzles. Most missions are pretty straightforward. Boom! Darth Vader! The voice isn't bad either.
The Emperor has approved your test demonstration, General Mock.
The voice isn't too bad, but it's still a tiny bit off.
At last, the Emperor's war will be filled only with the glory and beauty of decisive victory.
A noble cause, General. I hope the demonstration lives up to your claims. Proceed.
With pleasure.
General Mock launches these here Dark Troopers, the main thrust of the story in this game, down to a planet we're gonna see very, very soon. You notice how we have movie characters introduced without a ton of fanfare? Yeah, they're just, hanging around doing their job.
5 days ago, the Empire attacked one of our secret bases in the city of Talais.
They broke your shield. They broke your shield.
TAC base was destroyed within minutes.
Interesting. This looks like it could be a normal Imperial attack, except for those sounds.
Very perceptive, Commander. The Rebel Command is not taking this lightly. They have authorized me to hire you to find out if there is a threat, and if there is, to shut it down. That is, if you are still on our side.
This could be interesting. Alright, I'm in. But I think I'll need some help in this one. I want Jan Ors as my mission officer.
Yes, Jan Ors, pilot, constant presence in these games, and giver of briefings. Restart hydroelectric generator, check. Find some clues to the Dark Trooper, check. Kill enough stormtroopers to staff an entire Star Destroyer, you bet your ass! See that? That's the weapon supercharge. More pew-pew for your pew-pew, you goddamn Nazi spacemen. Playing this game makes me remember a time when Star Wars wasn't trash. Call it nostalgia, or, enjoying things that are well made and make fucking sense. Okay, well, there is one bad level. You have to find some asshole. This is one of the worst sewer levels in the history of sewer levels. If I didn't already know how to get through it, I'd probably add 200 to the count for this. Ugh. You have to go through different sections to raise the water level, the shit level, in this area to reach this guy here, while dealing with mostly droids who are dicks that respawn in this area. Don't drop any ammo for your laser weapons, which are all you have at this point besides thermal detonators. Oh, right, and let's not forget the creatures that live in the sewage, where they fucking belong, Dianagas, who are melee only and knock 20 points off your health with each hit, which is why I'm bunny hopping through all this sludge. I want to get through this godforsaken level as quickly as possible. It's nice to get to know the droids you'll be dealing with all straight from the movies. Probe droids, interrogation droids, these little annoying ones. Oh yeah, and Grands. Star Wars has stupid fucking names. Grands who can punch you or throw thermal detonators, I hate them. They can throw them better than you can. Imagine tossing dynamite and blood without that little bar and not having mouse look, and just generally not being able to accurately judge how far or high you're throwing them. They're good if you've got the high ground. Ha, ha, ha. Fuck this level. Next up is the Imperial Weapons Research Facility. Lose a life to falling off this cliff because platforming is a little weird in this game. You don't have an always run button in Dark Forces, so you can have fun holding down the shift key. Here's where the game hits you with the worst enemies. Turrets. Yeah, those solid colored primitive 3D shapes that take a ton of punishment and deal out so much damage that walking up to them and using a thermal detonator will probably damage you less than the turrets will. Wait a minute, what did that say? Ewoks suck. Well, I can't argue with that. You get this nice feeling of sneaking in through this shaft here. Hit your headlight or your night vision goggles, kill stormtroopers, get the repeater.
You're in violation of Imperial law.
A slightly better weapon than the Stormtrooper rifle because of how there's damage fall off on laser weapons. Not this one though. You'll see it a lot in this video. Even more once I start finding more power cell ammo for it. Once you find the Frick metal, yes, Frick. I think it's used mostly in the production of jizz instruments. You go to an Imperial mining operation on Gromus, the Blood Moon, where you have to plant charges and face your very first Dark Trooper, the Phase 1 prototypes that are just endoskeletons. They're not too bad, they like to cause your shots to ricochet back at you. Not much of a threat, to be honest. The Dark Troopers themselves aren't really a huge challenge in this game. Normally. Let's talk about some tech stuff. See this platform here? This rotating thing that looks like it belongs in the build engine? It's cool, right? You'll notice it's a flat color when you stand on it. This is because the engine can't actually rotate floor and ceiling textures to match, so solid color. It was a thing that the old 2.5D engines had trouble with. It is what it is. They did the most they could with it, and it's an admirable effort since the game engine was primarily programmed by a man named Ray Gresco. Good work on that. Dude made an engine that could do room over room in 1995 and it wasn't all that jank. Now he works at Blizzard. I'm not sure if that's more or less evil than Disney. Who else we got in the credits? Wait, Winston Wolfe?
I'm Winston Wolfe. I solve problems.
I don't have anything else. That's just weird. What's next? God damn. Why even have Kyle Katarn get the Death Star plans? Why not just send him in?
This contemptible excuse for an officer will no longer divulge any more information to that rebel, Kyle Katarn.
Katarn will not be as easy to deal with. He is very resourceful.
I understand the threat, Lord Vader. Katarn was once an impressive Imperial officer, but he was weak and gave up on the struggle for our new order.
You should have just given up then, guys, because he's going to be kicking your asses for another 2 games. 2.5.
I wouldn't put much faith in his abilities. Katarn will never come near this ship. My new hire will see to that.
Oh! Boba Fett! It's Boba Fett! So that guy they caught was Crix Medine. We gotta go break him out of a detention center that's basically one big puzzle. I mean, you still go in and kill everybody, but you have to arrange the elevators in a way that lets you get to a certain floor by the elevator shaft itself, get some codes from officers, and find the guy. You don't have to get back out. That doesn't matter. Everybody's already dead. Thing is, a lot of places in the detention center have this, problem where lasers ricochet off the walls, which is the worst idea ever for the Empire. It's an established meme that stormtroopers can't shoot straight. There's like 100 of them here, and it's just a bad idea. You're also going to run into landmines because the Empire sucks. Fuck the Empire. They make a nice little noise, and then they go off and probably kill you. But why in the living hell would you put one of these in a cell with a couple of aliens? The fucking Empire, man. Next up is something a little more low-key. Sneaking aboard a ship and placing a tracking device on it so you can find out which kingpin of organized crime is using a smuggler's ship to take parts to a robotics facility. And you're gonna get to know those landmines real well. So you got a ton of these assholes tossed in thermal detonators along with these pig-like creatures with axes. I don't know what they're called, we'll just give them one of these anyway. They're a little spongy, but they only have a melee attack. But that melee attack cuts right through your shields. They're more of a problem later for like 10 minutes. The ship you board is one of those, oh man, this is really Star Wars-y moments. It's reminiscent to the ship at the beginning of A New Hope, or at the end of Rogue One, whichever. It nails the style of the world, and that's what matters. Next up is the robotics facility, which is on a shitty ice planet, complete with shitty ice physics. But since Dark Forces wasn't made by hacks, you can pick up ice cleats to negate the slippery movement, which are right here. I spent a whole 33 seconds in this level without them, and I regret every moment of it. Whatever they're doing here, you need a gas mask, and you need to take a bad fall. So bad that the designers knew it would bone you and left a revive at the bottom. The revive, a rarely seen power-up that gives you full health and shields, and you have to manually use the gas mask you get by pressing F3. Barely important, this is the only place in the game I had to use it. Get ready for Dark Trooper Phase 2. I remember these guys being pushovers, and they kinda are. They have a plasma gun and a missile launcher that, at least on hard, will eat through your health. Don't worry, you get that weapon too, real soon. Oh yeah, and you nuke a huge part of another planet. Awesome. Next up, Narshada. If I'm pronouncing these names wrong, I want to stress I don't care. It's famous Star Wars place. Whatever, I don't remember why I'm here. Find Imperial navigation evidence. It's a bad time because of the Trandoshan. Trandoshan? Lizard-like beings that carry concussion rifles, which might as well be the BFG in this game. They're responsible for maybe a third of my deaths. The only good thing about them is that they drop a concussion rifle which gives you 100 power cells that can be used in the repeater. Stun lock these pricks. Yeah, eat my ricochet.
Jan, I found an Imperial navicard.
Those must be smuggler routes to the Ark Hammer. I think it's time to get out of here.
Oh my god, it's Jabba the Hutt! I never would have suspected.
Jabba? What have you done with Jan? If any harm comes to her, I'll personally shove my blaster down your slimy throat. I wish you were here too, Jabba. There's nothing like roast Kel Dragon.
Welcome to Jabba's ship, a level I've never played on hard before. This right here, probably one of the first things I would cite on the list of badass things Kyle Katarn has done. Jabba takes your weapons away, and then you have to punch a Kel Dragon to death. In the face, like 20 times. His attacks go through shields, so he can hit you 5 times. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but still, punching this thing to death, who even thought this up on the design team? Now on easy, there's 1 Kel Dragon. On medium, there are 2. On hard, there are 5 of them, making this the most difficult mission in the entire game. All your gear is gone for the first section. I had to punch 3 of these goddamn things to death, followed by 2 of these guys, get up here, get a key to exit, followed by punching more of these guys, these extremely dangerous axe-wielding pigs, all before getting my gear back. Remember those revives I talked about before? There's one right up here before you're even out of the room with the Kell Dragons. On easy and medium, you get one on hard too right before you get your stuff back, all the way fucking over here. Now, I promised somebody some roast Kell Dragon. Yeah, you're not so tough against Plasma Cutter, are you, motherfucker? Even when you get your gear back, this is the hardest mission in the game. The ship is covered in landmines, some of which you have to know beforehand are there. Explosive tossing Grands, those bastards with the concussion rifles. Took me about 5 restarts, only 1 after I got my gear back, and I ended up with a couple lives to spare before rescuing Jan. Next up, Imperial City to plug the nav card in and get a location. Oh wait, no. There's a way to cheese this entire level right at the beginning. See, the landmines have stupid splash damage that goes through walls, and right behind this wall is one Boba Fett, just waiting to ambush you at the end of the level when this wall lowers. Now, this video isn't called Pro Dark Forces, but this right here, you want to skip this extremely dangerous level, probably the second hardest in the game, just lay down some mines and...
Back at the landing pad.
2 ships! Jan never left! She's picking you up now! Oh god, the timeline! Oh no! Paradox! Katie, I feel like I should do a TNG thing, because I don't think that they do time travel in Star Wars. At least not yet. They'll probably do it in the new one. They did it in Avengers. They can just fucking do time travel. You can get away with anything if you do time travel. I'm still gonna play the level. You have to fight through a ton of stormtroopers. I mean, this is the Imperial City. Going there seems pretty risky for the Imperial City. Dude punched 3 Kell Dragons to death. Some of the puzzles will stop you in your tracks, so I guess I have to... Let me look at this for a while. Cool, okay, got it. Time to download some data, go deal with Boba Fett for real. Now that I have this Dark Trooper weapon, look at the size of this gun, good lord! Now we're really on the trail of the Dark Trooper project. You have to hijack a ship at a fuel station to get to the Executor, then the Arkhammer, the ship where the Dark Troopers are being built. This fuel station is a bitch. Dark Forces will occasionally have enemies that respawn out of nowhere. Oh, fuck. There were a lot of stormtroopers before, but now there's even more. Once you stow away on that ship, look at this. It's okay, you're not Han Solo, you can kill them all. Now that you're getting towards the end of the game, you're gonna see a lot more Dark Troopers, and they will fuck you up if you're not careful. They don't take a ton of punishment, but in closed spaces, they'll wreck you. Pew-pewing a bunch of stormtroopers while a TIE fighter flies by, and thankfully doesn't try to shoot me. Peak Star Wars. Imagine seeing this in 1995, you couldn't top it. Get to the Arkhammer.
Katarn will never come near this ship.
A massive ship you have to blow up. Place 3 charges, kill all the space Nazis. Okay, that's not cool. And at the end, General Mock himself. I just can't think of how I would, what's the word? Lampoon his name. in a Phase 3 Dark Trooper suit. I'm told he has homing missiles. I say that because he goes down like such a bitch, I don't think I've ever died to him.
A long time since I challenged a man to battle. I'm glad my opponent is so good.
He's easier to deal with than one of the Phase 2 Dark Troopers. Maybe he's not the final boss, maybe it's this one officer left on the ship standing by a shuttle and— oh no, he's dead! Bye-bye Dark Trooper Project. Say goodnight like 1,000 Imperial Stormtroopers, officers, and commandos.
This is an unfortunate setback. The Force is strong with Katarn.
Whoa, spoilers! But that's a video for another day, because sometimes snuking 2 separate planets, a star cruiser, and beating a bunch of giant reptiles to death with your bare hands isn't awesome enough. He's gotta grow a beard.